Hello and good evening. I don't know how this is going to work out, but let's see how we can work this out. I think you guys know what is who hi. Well, welcome back. Welcome back to day 2 of our 30-day challenge. And as I mentioned to you guys, I was going to go live and I wanted to make sure I go live at 8 o'clock. And so it's going to be 8 o'clock for this week up until April 1st. And then we're going to switch to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And, something I realized last night, I don't think I necessarily introduced myself to everyone, because I know I'm streaming on a lot of platforms, so people might be like, who is she, like, who is this person? So my Facebook group, Help Them Well Facebook group, hey there, Help Them Well Facebook group, they know who I am. But I'm streaming on other platforms, and I said, you know what, I don't think I took the time to introduce myself. So I said, let me just introduce myself and say who I am and basically why I do what I do, right? I think that would probably be helpful for some people, and um, why I chose to start doing this live, right? And when you think about it, I'll just get right into it so that we can get into the challenge, because I know that's what some of you are logging in for. And excuse my voice. So if my voice starts to go in and out, just bear with me. I'm not sure where the cracking is coming from. But I'm Dr. Lindra, so I've been a nurse for over 20 something years, and I won't give you my entire spiel, but so I have been a nurse for over 20 years, and my mission is to empower nurses to overcome burnout. And I think I can put it a little more beautifully and talk about my vision statement. And so recently I have been at it. I'm now a cornerstone mentor for NASDAQ's Women's Entrepreneurial Circle and Cornerstone Circle. And forgive me, I've been talking pretty much all day. And so if my voice is going in and out, it's time for you to hang it up for the day. But yeah, so I am now a cornerstone mentor for NASDAQ. And what I like about what we do at NASDAQ is when the mentees come in, we have them look at vision and create a vision statement for their businesses. And what's interesting is, I think I can't say none of us, but I don't think we think about what we do. When we think about the vision statement, your vision statement is really your niche for your business, right? So your vision statement really helps you to identify who you are and who you help. And, my vision statement can really help you understand my why and why I do what I do, because when we have the mentees, when we have them, one of the first things we have them do is we have them look at their vision statement, and your why is just that. Your why is why you do what you do, and that's really your niche. So your vision statement is really your niche. So when I think about my 5 whys and why I do what I do, it also helps you to identify who I am. So who is Dr. Lindra? What does she do, and why does she do what she does? And maybe this will help you understand why I do what I do. So I say technical, maybe not. Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. Always some technical difficulty. Maybe it might have just been on my end. I don't know. Maybe user error. um, but in any event, but where was I? I wanted to share my vision statement with you guys, and then we're going to get into the challenge. But again, the vision statement can really help you to understand, and even you yourself, it'll help you to understand what you do and why you do what you do. So, like I said, so without further ado, let's get into it. And
So my vision statement is I empower high achieving women to high achieving nurses to break through from burnout by courses, mentorship, and events so that they can stop trading time for money. So, what is my why? My why is because nurses work hard and they're undervalued and underpaid. Why? Because nurses, they don't have a voice in decisions that are made for their workday and their career and for their shifts. Why? Because we're not taught the financial side or the business side of healthcare. Why? Because we live in a society where bias and decisions are not always made that will help the healthcare workforce. And if you see me looking around, it's because I'm looking at different screens. So, and my final why would be why, because healthcare has become a system where we put profit over patients. So my deeper why just really goes back to what I mentioned earlier, and that being I empower nurses and nurse leaders to break free from burnout, high achieving nurses and nurse leaders, I should say, to break free from burnout through mentorship so that they can stop trading time for money. So that's my why, that's my vision, and that's why I do what I do. And and that's, a basic reason behind the Health and Wealth Expo. And again, why I'm coming and doing this 30-day challenge with all of you so that you can understand when I talk about burnout and when I talk about going from burnout to wealth building, why that's important in you. So now you know what it means to me. And now here is day 2 of what we're going to be talking about. And tonight I want to really go through the 3 keys, the leading factors, the 3 key leading factors, I should say, behind burnout. That's the leading causes of nurse burnout. And oh my gosh. So it's 2025 and nurse burnout remains a very critical challenge, right, in healthcare. And what's happening is causing, so when we look at factors like staffing, right, staffing levels and nurses working short staff, it's causing people to leave because there's a feeling of their licenses are at jeopardy, or basically you're being asked to manage very heavy workloads that are leading to either, exhaustion. We're being asked to handle excessive loads that leads to increased stress, diminished quality of patient care. Because what happens is you start to lose compassion because you start to feel undervalued. And Stanford University actually did a study of over something like 200,000 nurses across, I think it was like across 32 countries. And they found a significant, and let me see if I can find it. It said they found a significant, because one thing about me, I'm going to bring you facts. So you can always fact check me. And it says Stanford University study involving over 200,000 nurses across 32 countries found a significant link between nurse burnout and compromised patient safety and satisfaction. And this was actually a study in nurse.org. So I say that to say nurse.org, I should say, published this study, and this was a Stanford study. The second thing that I like to bring up is emotional exhaustion. When you have continuous exposure to patients suffering from high pressure environments like intensive care units or emergency rooms, or even just, on the floors, it contributes to emotional exhaustion. And I've talked about this on my podcast in the past, that sometimes we don't get to relax, right? We don't get to really think about and really process what just happened. So for instance, a trauma patient comes in, let's just say, and I've said this before, let's just say that the average person sees someone get hit by a car. They're traumatized, right? nurses and healthcare professionals, unfortunately, we see death more often than the average person. We're not able to process that. We then have to go walk right back into that next patient's room and put a smile on our face and give them the same care that we would give anyone else, even though someone who has probably been on our unit for a week, 2 weeks, a month, has now just passed away. We don't get that time to process that. And what does it do? It leads to emotional exhaustion. And a global study, and again, I like to give you guys facts, that was published in the International Nursing Review. And I might get some of this, but it was published in the International Nursing Review. They highlighted a record level of emotional distress in nursing, and which poses threats to patient safety and healthcare sustainability. Now, so that's something to think about. And then we have financial strains, right? So burnout leads to increased nurse turnover. When we talked about understaffing, right? We talked about emotional exhaustion. These things lead to increased nurse turnover. So, and this exacerbates staffing shortages and poses financial burdens or on healthcare systems. So everyone loses in these situations when we talk about financial strains. So research again indicates that burnout is responsible for 20% of registered nurses, and some of these statistics might have changed. But 20% of registered nurses, registered nurse turnover, I should say, it intensifies the existing nursing shortage, because it's projected that it's going to reach somewhere in like 1.2 million, which is by 2026. So there's going to be a nursing shortage of over 1 million nurses in 2026. And this is because that places a huge financial strain on healthcare systems. Who does that ultimately affect? It affects the healthcare system, and it ultimately affects the community. Someone has to pick up that cost, right? So when we address these systemic issues, it's critical, right, to mitigate that, because burnout ultimately, it affects, as a person, as a consumer, it ultimately affects your bottom line, and it directly impacts your wealth building, your wealth building strategies. And so for one, you have limited earning potential. And so what do I mean by that? Well, when you're burnt out, you lack the energy or motivation, I should say, to pursue career advancement, right? Or promotions, or even side hustles. So, and those things that can increase your income. So if you have a promotion, if you have a side business, that can increase your income. And when you're burned out, you're not really thinking about those things. So, instead of growing financially, you stay stuck in survival mode. And so that often you're not in the settings that you deserve to be in. And the second thing that I want to think about is your increased financial instability. So burnout it can lead to missed shifts. It can lead to job changes, or even leaving the profession altogether. So what has happened? What have you seen? You've seen a lot of nurses exit the bedside. And where are they going, and what are they doing? They're going to start businesses, right? They're going places where they feel appreciated. And, but what happens is, if they're going and starting a business, and if they don't have the mentorship or the guidance that they need, guess what? They're going to lose money that way. Or if they're getting terminated because of time and attendance, guess what? They're losing money that way. So your finances become unstable, right? The physical and mental health toll, that also can contribute to increased medical expenses, right? So stress leads to, you can end up in the emergency room. You can end up in a hospital because of stress. You can have a heart attack, strokes. Like, stress is definitely a contributing factor to a lot of health ailments. it leads to therapy calls, right? Now you have a need to go to your therapist, right? Or find a therapist. So you have to have extended time off. So all of these things just really, they drain your financial resources. And then you have your missed investments and business opportunities. Think about it. So whether it's it's not about earning, right? So whether wealth I should say isn't about earnings. Wealth is wisdom. Wealth is mindset. You can be have $100 in the bank, but be wealthy because you have your family. You have people around you who love you. You could be emotionally stable. So wealth isn't necessarily about earnings. It's about investing and growing in your journey, right? And burnout keeps you from doing that. So it keeps you in a reactive state as opposed to being in a proactive state, right? So which makes it difficult for you to plan and for long-term security, financial security. So instead of building passive income, you're launching a business, you are you're always feeling exhausted, and you're too disconnected, right? So that you to take the necessary steps that you need to take in order to really move towards financial freedom. So you're not thinking about launching a business. You're not thinking about taking those steps that you need to take. So do you understand how burnout is really, how it affects you either way? You can comment, you can, I'm fine with that, because I just want to make sure that you guys understand the connection that I'm trying to make, because, my tagline on LinkedIn is nurturing nurses from burnout to breakthrough. And this is what I mean. And I think over these next 30 days, I guess 28 or 29 at this point, I'll really just be breaking it down and giving you guys actionable strategies on what you can do. Now, when we talk about the solution is prioritizing you, right? The solution is prioritizing your well-being. Now, by breaking free from burnout, you regain the control over your career, you regain control over your financial situation. You start to thrive, right? And that's what you want. You start to thrive, and you start making smarter financial decisions. You start making wiser decisions because you have a clearer head. And so you're able to make those particular shifts in your mindset, and in those decisions. And again, this is exactly why I created the Health and Wealth Expo, right? The Health and Wealth Expo virtual and live summit, so that you can take those opportunities to have your breakthrough. And that's what it's about. It's about establishing your breakthrough, helping you to, really achieve your next level career, whatever that may look like. Your next level career could be starting a business. It may not. But getting into rooms that are created for you and to make a difference for you, that's what it's about. Making sure that you're in the right rooms, being in rooms where you're going to be inspired, being in rooms where you're going to be educated. And I'll give you a great example. So some of the people who are going to be at the Health and Wealth Expo, you have, we're going to be covering topics like monetizing your expertise, right? And what does that look like? We're going to be covering financial education. We're going to be covering medical writing, workshops, starting a mental health practice as a nurse practitioner. We're going to be looking at real estate investments using AI, right? We're going to have a whole roundtable discussion on how DEI affects or how DEI affects your wealth building right now. So, or how it affects hiring, how it affects promotions. We're going to have HR consultation. HR will be in the building at the summit. But I say all this to say, listen, you have to first start by choosing you, and that's how you start to break through from the burnout. That's how you start to really build your wealth, and your wealth building and starting that trajectory really helps you to put you on that path to start building generational wealth. So, I think I've said enough for tonight. I think I made my point on the three, leading causes. Hello, Yusuf. How are you? Um, Happy to join. I'm glad you joined as well. So I think I made my point on making sure that you understand why this journey is so important and why it's important to break through from burnout. So yesterday we talked about what burnout is. Today I gave you the leading causes of burnout. And, tomorrow I'll be back with more burnout, with more strategies, right? That's what we want to start getting into, just really understanding what burnout is costing you. Like that's what I want to talk about tomorrow, and some strategies for you to, and we have 30 days for you to understand, to go on this journey. So I did promise you on this journey that we'll definitely give you tips and strategies. I may even have some guests come join me during these sessions, but I really, really hope that you guys can appreciate, and I'm sure you do. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking, what questions you have. I'm happy to answer them. And, make sure that something that I always end my podcast with is make sure that you stay inspired, stay educated, and stay empowered. And I want you guys to do the same as we walk through these 30 days of breaking through from burnout so that you can help to build wealth. So until next time, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 8 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. And I want you guys to come prepared with any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer them. So I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.